Do you remember the days when you could buy a Mercedes E53 with around 500 brake horsepower? Well, Mercedes will now sell you an E53 with up to 603 brake horsepower. And that's why you join us in Stuttgart today. Welcome to the Autocar YouTube channel, where I'm going to talk you through some of the exterior design changes to this E53 before we then move inside. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the estate, because who doesn't love performance estates? This new E53 uses internals that have been heavily revised from the ground up, together with a raft of styling tweaks to make you realise that what you're looking at is no E220D. And yet, among several changes to the chassis and other bits you can see, you simply wouldn't realise that what you're looking at is something with such enormous capabilities. But of course, because it's an AMG, it would be rude not to start with the engine. And to be honest, I'd be lying if I said I didn't need some kind of visual aid, because there's a lot to take in. It's a 3 litre twin turbocharged straight 6, mated to a 28.6 kilowatt hour battery and an electric motor. So it's a plug-in hybrid, but not the sort of plug-in hybrid that you would be expecting, because as standard, you get 576 brake horsepower and 553 pounds-foot of torque. That is entirely dependent, though, on whether you go for the AMG Dynamics Plus package, which will up the power figure temporarily to 602 brake horsepower, as mentioned before. The 0 to 62 time for the Saloon stands at 4 seconds, with a top speed limited to 155 miles an hour. But as is the way with these German cars, if you get carried away with the spec sheet, you can configure a very quick machine indeed. So if you specify this with the AMG Dynamic Plus package, as this car has, you get the full fat 602 brake horsepower with a 0 to 62 time reduced to 3.8 seconds, which means that this saloon car, this rival for the BMW 5 Series, will quite happily match a BMW M3. But what about specifics? So, you get 442 brake horsepower from the 3 litre combustion engine alone, which is 19 more than the last E53, which of course wasn't a plug-in hybrid. The electric motor itself provides up to 160 brake horsepower and works with a regenerative braking system that provides up to 120 kilowatts of regen, which is 32 kilowatts more than the equivalent Porsche Panamera SE hybrid. Electric only range stands at 62 miles. You can get as standard an 11 kilowatt hour charger, which should charge it to 100% in 2.5 hours. But optionally available is a 60 kilowatt hour fast charger, which gets it from 10 to 80% in under 20 minutes. But what about its design? Overall, I think this is a very well executed car. The E53 has always really been seen as the ultimate Q car for the Mercedes-AMG range, because it has enough performance day to day, but also comes now with the ability to at least match a BMW M3. And I think this does do quite a nice job of showing that off, but without being too brash about its proportions. So for example, the wheel arches have been extended by 11mm to accommodate the wider track. Down the front, you get a bespoke AMG grille, much deeper front bumpers with vents on either side. Those are matched with the Filterback logo, which is in black on this car because it has the addition of the night pack. Moving round to the side, you have bespoke AMG alloys with red brake calipers because this car has the dynamic pack. And then further along here, bespoke side skirts for AMG cars to again increase its prominence on the road. These door mirrors are trimmed in carbon fibre because this has the carbon pack. And moving around to the back, because it's an AMG, you get a bespoke spoiler here, as well as much more aggressive rear diffusers than what you would on a standard AMG line car, like an E220D or something like that. You also get quad tailpipes. That was on the last car, but they are a little bit more prominent for this generation. And the E53 badge is highlighted in red to accentuate the fact that this is a plug-in hybrid. But what kind of engineering does it have to keep it in check at the sort of speeds it can achieve? Mercedes has fettled with the cross members in the chassis to make it stiffer and the whole car more agile. There's also some extra bracing on the rear axle for added stiffness, better high-speed stability, and an improved response for when you're hammering around a track. Its dampers have been specifically set up for faster driving, with a series of valves at each wheel that adjust themselves constantly depending on what the driving situation calls for. The driver can also choose if they want the dampers in Comfort, Sport, or Sport Plus if they want to get their foot down. And if they decide they want to stop, it gets 370mm brakes at the front with 360mm discs at the back. And the whole braking system has been designed to work with the hybrid system, so you could drive it with one pedal if you wanted to. And of course, it also comes as an estate. The 0 to 60 time for the estate, 4.1 seconds. That is without the AMG Performance Pack. With the Performance Pack, it stands at 3.9. Top speeds, exactly the same as the Saloon. 155 as standard, with an increase to 174 with the Performance Pack. And of course, because it's an estate, it comes with the added practicality of a big boot. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a load lip because of the hybrid gubbins that has to live underneath, but that's a given for a plug-in hybrid. It's still a usable space. So it's 460 litres with the seats up and 1,675 litres with them down, which makes it largely competitive with the class, with BMWs and Porsches and whatnot. And of course, you have handy buttons either side which automatically drop the seats for you, and a storage net to stop your shopping from rolling around when you decide to take it on a track day after your visit to Asda. Which brings us inside, and the first thing you'll notice when you get in here is of course the sports seats, which come as standard on every E53, as does this. It's open pore wood, which is backlit with the AMG logo. You also get various other trinkets inside specific to AMG cars. For example, an AMG button down here, which presets the suspension settings, throttle response and gear change ferocity to your tastes. You also get a vast array of buttons on the steering wheel, which lets you choose between your different driving modes, Sport, Sport Plus, Comfort, and obviously because this is a plug-in hybrid, you can go to electric hold mode, which lets you hold the state of charge in the battery for when you're going into a low emission zone, for example in London or Glasgow. In terms of the displays, this is what it looks like as standard. You get AMG specific displays for the driver, plus this 14.4 inch touchscreen. However, it can be specified with the super screen, which adds a separate screen on this side of the dashboard. And this is what that hyperscreen looks like. As you can see, the extra display for the passenger there. We've come back into the saloon now because you get some extra goodies in here and there's more to show you. So this has been specified with the carbon pack, which gives you carbon fibre on the door mirrors, on various parts, other parts of the exterior, as well as on the centre console here, and inserts into the also flat bottom steering wheel. You also get microfiber cloth inserts for better grip for when you're pushing on. This brings over the aluminium paddles as ever, which by the way can also be used to adjust the amount of regenerative braking that you get from the e-motor. You also get even more performance oriented seats, which here are trimmed in white and black, with AMG inserts on the back there. Sadly, however, that's all we've got time for today, but full details will be available on autocar.co.uk, and if you visit themagazineshop.com, you'll find our full extensive archive with every single magazine printed since 1895, if you so wish to be lost down a rabbit hole. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our walk around of the new Mercedes E53, and we'll see you in the next video.